Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live training today. Today, we're talking about how to get past the 2020 recession with better business funding than ever. Look, a lot has changed in the funding world. And today, we're going to talk about some of the things you can't get access to. We're going to talk about over 12 different ways that even during a recession, you're able to get money for your business. We're even going to dive into some of the specific lenders and sources you can go to actually get these funds. So for those people that don't know me, my name's Ty Crandall. I'm CEO at Credit Suite. And at Credit Suite, we help business owners get capital. And we do this by improving your fundability, fixing the things that make you more lendable, by also helping you build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your personal social, and by also accessing all forms of capital in one place. So if we can help you along the way, we'll have a phone number at the bottom of our slides for a free consultation, guides that will help you actually build, get financing, and even our link to be able to get approved for financing as well. So look, economic conditions we're facing right now are unprecedented, right? Right now, some of the larger, well-established banks have closed their doors for good. We see this in the alternative lending space. A lot of alternative lenders are not lending anymore. They've ceased operations altogether. So a lot of people are trying to figure out how they can survive without having access to money. But and a lot of people are wondering if you can still actually even get capital, if it's possible. But you absolutely can. It's just a matter of knowing where to look. And this is a problem I've always believed that entrepreneurs face. There's a lot of capital available. You might just not know where to look. And that's why I think knowing the types of funding available and the sources of funding available is so important for you to actually be able to succeed. Now, it's not all bad news. There's actually some really good things about this as well. So for example, lenders are buying, or the government's buying, a lot of commercial paper right now. And that's creating liquidity in the markets that makes it easier to get low interest rates, for example. So we're starting to see interest rates right now be at an all-time low. We even got our credit line hybrid, which we'll talk about probably to kick things off, where you're able to get interest rates at 0%. So that's the great news. It's a little bit harder to get money right now, especially if you're not going to the right source. But you're able to get money at really, really good terms because of several different things that are happening with the Fed cutting their main interest rate. And then as well, on top of that, buying all this commercial paper, it's created liquidity and opportunities to get really low rate financing as well. Skip, thanks for tuning in from Facebook. Steve, thanks for tuning in for Facebook as well. And DG Brill, thanks for tuning in from Facebook and saying hi. Okay, so let's start with the credit line hybrid. Look, I talk about this a lot when I talk about funding, and there's a reason I do, because we work with every legitimate form of funding here at Credit Suite. And I can tell you that as many programs as we have, 40, 50 different funding programs, I think, this is the #1 most popular go-to program. So I'll kick us off here, and then we'll talk about some programs you probably never heard of and lenders you might not even be familiar with that can help you as well. So our credit line hybrid is unsecured. You don't need any collateral to be able to qualify. You're getting 0% credit lines, multiple credit lines, and you could pay the 0% for 6 to 18 months. So great for startups, great for a recession, because 0%, you can't get a lower rate than that. That obviously will keep your payments low. You don't need financials. It's no doc. Again, really good for a recession, because when you have a recession and things slow down, your revenue drops. And then what happens is when revenue decreases, a lot of lenders out there that look at that factor will not lend to you. And that's what we're seeing, is that revenue lending, merchant cash advances, this kind of financing that's out there that's based on your business providing consistent or producing consistent revenue, those have kind of ceased temporarily. But with the credit line hybrid, there's no financials required. So if you've seen a deduction or a reduction, in your revenue, your bank statements aren't needed, your tax returns aren't needed. So it's just not a factor in approval at all. And you're able to get some accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. So you're able to get money and build business credit at the same time, which is awesome, because business credit, once that's established, opens up a lot of other opportunities for you as well. And it gives you more access to cash. It gives you more access to other kind of loans as you're establishing your business credit. So that's why I love financing like that. Any kind of financing that will help you build business credit, I think, provides dual benefit. You get the money you need, you build business credit, which helps you get even more money that you need at better terms. So a dual benefit here by building business credit and getting the money that you need. Now, you can often get about 5 times the amount that you would get on your own, and about 5 to 8 times the amount of your highest credit limit. So the highest revolving credit card you have now is a Chase card, for example, for 10 grand. You're able to get 5 to 8 times that, about $50,000 to $80,000, up to about $150,000 in funding, even as a startup. Even as a high-risk industry, you're still able to get even with decreasing revenues, you're still able to get to $150,000. And as I mentioned, easily 5 times the amount you can get on your own, and you can take cash out. So if you want, you could take $150,000 cash out at 0%. It's just unheard of. That's why I think that this program is so fantastic on top of being unsecured and no doc. No impact on your personal credit with this type of financing because if you're getting the business cards, the cards report to the business credit reporting agencies, not consumer. So you can max out the cards and not adversely affect your consumer credit score. But you do need good credit to get approved. Remember, when I talk about funding, you typically need cash flow, credit, or collateral to get money. This is credit based. So the good news is cash flow doesn't matter, collateral doesn't matter, but you need a 700 FICO score approval, or you can also use a good credit guarantor. So you might have a family member, a friend, a potential investor, somebody that's willing to let you use their credit to be able to secure the credit lines. And remember, you can get ones that only report on your business credit reports, so it won't adversely affect their consumer credit. So there's two angles here. There's that you have good personal credit, you can qualify. I have a guarantor and I can use their credit to qualify. Either way, using a guarantor to qualify is easier than getting cash from those people. 75% of business owners get money from family and friends. So it's easier to get them to actually sign as a guarantor where they only lose out if you default than actually physically giving you the cash. And of course, with good business credit established, this will help you access even more cool kinds of financing. So something to consider. Steve says, quick question. I have a business checking at two separate banks. One keeps over 50 for good rating. One had about 5,000 to 10,000. So does that hurt my bank rating? Bank ratings are based on many factors, Steve. And for those that don't know, Steve asks us a very good question because there's three types of credit you have: consumer credit, commercial credit, and what's called bank credit, which is an internal credit scoring system used by banks that issue credit cards and loans. For bank credit, you need to have a minimum average balance over 90 days. The average balance over 90 days is 10,000 to have what's called a low 5 rating, which is the lowest rating you can have to get bank financing. So the question is, Steve, you got to look at the 90 days. It needs to be 10,000 average over 90 days, but you don't even care about your bank rating unless you're going to go into your bank to get a loan like SBA, which, by the way, I'm about to talk about right now. So if you go into your bank to get like an SBA loan, that's when you need to have that average over 90 days be 10 grand. Unless you're doing that, it's not even going to adversely affect your ability to get financing. So hopefully that answers your question there. Let's talk about SBA loans. Okay, billions have been poured in as relief. Currently, right now, as we get into July, there's about 130 billion left in PPP. As a matter of fact, they're getting ready to repurpose some of those funds elsewhere because it looks like, they've lent to a lot of people that are looking for the money and still have about $130 billion left. And as you know, with a lot of these loans, SBA is waiving the actual upfront fees, especially for veterans, up to $1 million. The SBA Express program allows you to move pretty quickly, especially as a veteran. We talked about veteran financing this week and some different options, including SBA Express. But the disaster relief financing with SBA is something you need to pay attention to, because even though our PPP loans are kind of getting behind us, as I've mentioned for months, we're now moving to these EIDL, these economic injury disaster loans from SBA. They're fantastic ways to still get funding, but a lot of you still qualify, okay? So with this kind of financing, if you're adversely affected by the coronavirus, you're able to get approved, okay? You're able to get approved for as much as $2 million through this program, okay? Loans can be used to pay the debts that can be paid because of the outbreak impact, including payroll, accounts payable, other bills. Bottom line is, unlike PPP, where you have to use certain percentage of the funds on certain things, EIDL, DDL is not like that. They just want to see that you're using the money in the recovery, which means payroll, account receivables, your normal bills. You could use EIDL to actually get approved. Some other things on EIDL, interest rates of 3.375% for profit, 2.75% for nonprofit, loan terms as much as 30 years. So look, even if you don't desperately need the money right now, but it's money you can use to help with your recovery, then get it. Because look, you all see what's happening as we enter July of 2020, right? We're seeing record numbers of cases of COVID-19. So there's a possibility, as much as I hate to see this, that we may take a step back, and we are taking steps back in many states of halting, stopping, or reversing kind of the opening of the economy. So we don't know when this is going to end. So having money and being financially prepared is one of the best decisions you can make. A loan at 3.75% for 30 freaking years, that's insane. Anybody that can qualify for that needs to be getting in and applying, because it's a great way to go. And you can do this directly with SBA. You don't even need to go through anybody else. But if you need a good broker to help you with EIDL, you can get our broker at creditsuite.com/PPP. He's awesome. He got our PPP loan done in 72 hours. And he's also helping with our EIDL loan. So a couple things to do. But you got to act quickly, right? Markets are tightening up. Limited window to get the money, especially from any of these, the money that's come from the government. And lenders are already asking and looking at weekly financial statements. So a lot of loan programs, it's getting tighter. It's getting harder to get money. So you kind of need to act quickly because in a chaotic, uncertain environment, you just don't know what's going to happen one way or the other with lending. So you need to kind of take action before crazy things maybe start to happen. So Senora says, business credit. How do I know about my business credit score? You can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring and you can get your business credit reports for $24 there. It's the cheapest you're going to get them anywhere. Or you can give us a call right here. Our number, 877-600-2487. 877-600-2487. And if you do that, then we will actually, on our consultation, help you get a free copy of your Dun & Bradstreet Equifax Experian credit report. Andre says, I'm back again. I enjoy your live streams. I'm interested in signing up. Andre, I'm glad to have you back. And Steve says, Andre from YouTube, and Steve comes up from Facebook. When can we ask for PPP forgiveness? My PPP loan was used up a couple weeks ago, 6 weeks into the 8-week period. Now past 8 weeks, but bank sources says since loan terms have been extended and I have to wait several more weeks for giving up. It's based on your bank. That's what it comes down to, Steve. Your bank will make the determination of when and how you're actually to execute their process for loan forgiveness. That's at your individual bank level. So let's talk about online lenders. Very good, viable option, less affected than the big commercial banks. Let's talk about the difference here. You know, in Dodd-Frank in 2008, past following our last crisis, economic crisis, what happened was this. Banks tightened up. And we forget that banks are insured, okay, and they have to meet certain requirements to be able to function per the government. So Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America, a lot of people kind of treat them as the bad guy, but the reality is they are required by law to be very conservative with their risk. They're the worst place you can go to get money unless your collateral is good, your credit's good, your cash flow is good, everything's solid in your business. If that's the case, your bank's the best place to go. If that's not the case, like just like a lot of people that are watching today, then fintech or online lenders are a way better source, just way easier to be able to get the money. They're less impacted by this crisis unless they're the ones lending money strictly based on revenue. In that case, they're kind of on an indefinite hold. And by that, I mean revenue lending, merchant cash advances have been all the craze for years. They've been become the number one most popular funding program in the world. Here's how they work. They see your revenue is consistent. They lend you about 12% of whatever your annual revenue is. But since COVID-19, everybody's revenue kind of went, a lot of people. So all these banks that lent all this money based on the assumption that revenue that in the past has been consistent will stay consistent in the future, obviously their world was rocked. Their default rates skyrocketed. So because they take the money right out of people's bank account. Well, their money wasn't there to take. So they really have had their world rocked. So a lot of these revenue lenders have pulled back. I'm going to talk to you about a lot of sources today that haven't, that can still work for you and make it easier to get money than the big banks. So you might want to give these guys a try because even with low FICO scores, a lot of them can still help you. Let's start with OnDeck. OnDeck's the one that's in flux right now. They're one of many, but I'm going to start with them because they've got some great programs. It's just a matter of when they kind of start providing a lot of these programs again. Some of them are harder to get than they have been in the past. So you can apply online. It's basically based on your revenue and the consistency of your revenue. They also help with PPP loans as well. Pretty quick funding in less than 72 hours. You're able to get up to $500,000 in financing, usually 500 plus credit scores. They've recently kind of shifted where now they really want better credit borrowers, or you need to have really solid, consistent revenue in a year time in business to get approved. You have to have 100,000 in revenue to get approved, no bankruptcy in the last 2 years, no unresolved judgments, etc. OnDeck.com. Not my favorite source, and here's why. They're a revenue lender, so they've been rocked. Now they're publicly traded, so you have a better chance. And the reason I wanted to include them is that you have a better chance of getting revenue lending from them than almost all other fintech lenders right now, because all other fintech lenders have indefinitely ceased their programs. But if you have consistent revenue through all of this, OnDeck might be a very good option for you to consider. StreetShares is a lender offering term loans, lines of credit, specialized veterans business bonds, small business loans, investing options. Most recently, they offer contract financing, which is a non-loan service similar to like invoice factoring. So if people come in and pay you on terms, then they're a good option to be able to possibly get financing. They're opening up more and more new funding vehicles, which I like, including lines of credit up to $100,000. So I think that they can work really well because you can get loans, lines of credit up to 100 grand. And you don't need good credit to get approved. Maybe a 620 FICO score, you're able to get approved. They are going to want to see that you're generating revenue to get approved. And they really, really, really cater to veterans. So they offer term loans. They also offer lines of credit. They're going to want you to be in business 12 months. They're going to want you to have $25,000 a year plus in revenue. And sometimes they'll make exceptions. If you make a lot of money, they'll actually come in and be able to lend you money only if you've been in business for 6 months. So again, fairly easy to be able to get approved. U.S. citizen, 620 credit score. You can also use a guarantor with them, which is kind of uncommon in the lending industry like this. A program like this doesn't usually permit for guarantors, but in this case, they do, and you can get them at StreetShares.com. Now, Eddie from YouTube says, what program are you talking about? I just joined. We are talking about StreetShares right now, which is peer-to-peer lending is what we're currently on. We just jumped off of revenue lending through On Deck. And the J Factor, Jonathan says, what's the phone number again? Our phone number is right here at the bottom of our slides, 877-600-2487. If we can help you getting financing, 877-600-2487 is our number to do so. So let's talk about StreetShares. StreetShares is one of many, not many, but a handful of what are called peer-to-peer lenders. If you are a veteran, StreetShares is the way to go. If you are a startup, then you want to look at Upstart. Upstart's another similar version here of StreetShares where you can get term loans, but you can only get loans up to 35 grand with Upstart, but something to consider. And you also might want to look at Prosper. You also might want to look at Lending Club. You also might want to look at Funding Circle. All three of those are other peer-to-peer lenders. Funding Circle focuses on businesses up to $500,000 they'll lend, and Prosper and Lending Club do both personal and business loans. So you're able to get financing a couple different ways there. So if you like the idea of peer-to-peer lending that StreetShares has, there's some other sources you might want to look into as well. So online lenders, let's look at LoanBuilder. This is a PayPal service as of November 2017. LoanBuilder specializes in short-term lending to mid-sized businesses or term loans. You may be able to get a loan as soon as the next business day, okay, and customizable loans with no origination fee. They don't charge you fees, okay? In a lot of cases, you can get loans through PayPal that don't even charge you much interest rate. It's actually a very small fee. So it depends on if you're using PayPal account or LoanBuilder. Now, what's interesting about LoanBuilder is you're able to get approved for up to $500,000 if you have a 550 plus FICO score, 42,000 plus in annual revenue, 9 months time in business. You can get approved at loanbuilder.com. So PayPal has a couple different programs you should know about. LoanBuilder doesn't even require that you do your transactions through PayPal. Like if you're processing transactions through PayPal and or Square, both of them have funding options that can work really well for you. LoanBuilder is another PayPal service where even if you have no transactions going through PayPal, you can still get LoanBuilder. So again, if you have some consistent revenue and your credit's not horrific, like 550 is pretty bad, then you still may be able to get approved here easier than a lot of other online revenue lenders. So don't think just because it's offered by PayPal that you have to actually come in. What happened was PayPal acquired LoanBuilder from Swift Capital. So they acquired Swift Capital in 2017, and that is what LoanBuilder is. And Swift Capital was really big in the revenue lending space. Bottom line, couple options here. PayPal and Square, if you're processing customers' payments through there, they have great options for you. Very easy, very cheap money to get. And then LoanBuilder is another PayPal service, even if you're not processing through PayPal, that may work for you as well. Okay, on top of that, you're also able to get approved with Bluevine. Now, this is a quick cash credit line with up to $150,000, and there's two ways you can get it. One is based on account receivables. Your customers pay you on terms. Second is you're able to get approved based on your revenue if you manage your bank account responsibly. Get approved for up to 150 grand, get term loans and lines of credit with Bluevine, and they are what I call an artificial intelligence lender, an AI lender. Instead of providing all this documentation, they just log into your QuickBooks or log into your bank account, Once you provide that, their computers, their algorithms do all the underwriting automatically. That's why the money's so fast. That's why you can get the money in as little as 24 hours. Get approved for as much as 100 grand. Now you can get approved for as much as 150,000 with Blue Vine. Lines of credit in all states, 6 months time in business, 100,000 plus in annual revenue, 600 plus FICO scores. You're able to get approved at bluevine.com. Another option here is Fundbox. creditsuite.com/fundbox. That's creditsuite.com/fund, FUNDBOX, Fundbox. Fundbox is similar to Blue Vine, but they only approve you for up to $100,000, but they have no minimum credit score requirements. So if you've been in business as little as 3 to 6 months, then there's a good chance Fundbox can help you. They'll typically give you a credit line less than $10,000. Okay, but then if you provide financial statements like tax returns, they'll give you like up to 30 grand is what I've seen. And if you pay them as agreed, they'll bump your credit line. They bumped us from 30 to 100 grand. We used our Fundbox credit line to mitigate the COVID-19 crisis. So I love Fundbox. It's one of my favorite lenders out there. So Blue Vine and Fundbox, artificial intelligence lenders, fast approvals, fast funding, 24 hours to get access to your credit line because they're plugging in digitally to your bank account and or your check, your QuickBooks. You don't have to supply all the documentation you have to supply with a lot of these lenders. Credibly is a direct lender specialized in unsecured business loans. Can take as little as a day or two to be able to get approved funding to cover all kinds of expenses. You can have money deducted daily to pay them back or weekly, and you can get approved for as much as $250,000. Your personal credit score doesn't have to be super high, okay, but they're going to want you to have pretty consistent revenue. Okay, so 500 plus FICO score, 6 months time in business, 15,000 average a month in deposits, and you've got to have 10,000 in monthly deposits to be able to qualify. So talked about a lot of different sources here. Keep in mind, cash flow, credit, collateral. It's typically one of those three things they're looking at. We talked about credit line hybrid. That's based on credit. We've talked about on deck. We've talked about credibly. We've talked about StreetShares, some of these others that are based on cash flow, right? And we'll talk about some collateral options as well. But so far, we've covered a lot when it comes to consumer credit score-based financing or when it comes to revenue self-based financing. You can also use a guarantor, right? Family member, friend with assets with good credit. You can tap into their stocks, their bonds, their IRAs. Okay, you can tap into their good credit and leverage that to be able to get financing as well. They usually want less of a percent of your company than a venture capitalist would. There's a reason I'm really special. I'm focusing a lot of time on guarantors right now because, look, this is my second economic craziness that I've been through in my business professional career. And I can tell you that sometimes, like when you know your business takes a hit, if it's short term and you know that things will bounce back, let's say you're a restaurant, you were crushing it post COVID-19. Now you're shut down, but you know you'll be fine once things open back up again. You're in this weird flex state where you need help. And in that case, especially if you've proven you can run a reliable business and the people around you know you and trust you and know you can do so, this is when family, this is when friends, this is when a lot of these people will kind of come and be there to help you in your worst of worst times, especially if they have confidence that you're going to rebound. So lean on those people. I also tell you this because there's like $13 trillion floating around in the venture capital space right now. So there's over $13 trillion with private investors that are looking to invest money into businesses. So whether you know it or not, a lot of people around you that could be called affiliated angels, angels that have an affiliation with you, people you know would have an interest in investing in you and your business right now because the stock market's insane and a lot of people have lost a lot of money. So guarantors, make sure you think about that. Consider this as an option. People are more readily available and willing to lend money on the personal side to your small business than they ever were before because, again, they're getting crushed on the stock market and want a safer place to be able to put their money. As we talked about, using collateral to get financing can work. Inventory, account receivables, 401k, stocks, bonds, IRAs, commercial vehicles, commercial real estate, equity in a consumer home. Anything you have as an asset may serve as collateral to be able to get financing. So that being said, these are some really cool options to be able to get money as well. Now, Facebook user doesn't say your name, says, will this be put on YouTube? I missed some of it early. You're tuning in from Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/credit suite, you can access this right on our page right now while it's live and when it's done. You can also access it on youtube.com/credit suite. It's on our channel there. But since you're tuning in from Facebook, you might want to check out our Facebook page because the video is playing right there and you can play it back in its entirety on our Facebook page as well. So using security as collateral, you can use, again, stocks, bonds. Stocks and bonds you're able to borrow is 90% of the value of those. IRAs and 401ks, you can borrow as much as 100% of the value of those. Pretty cool, because stocks and bonds, you can still earn the interest. You can get a 5% credit line. So like if my dad lets me leverage his stocks to get a credit line and get a credit line for for $50,000 at 5%. And the only way my dad gets hurt is if I don't pay back that credit line, and then those stocks would go away. So we have a really cool client that owns a bar, retired as a police officer, $750,000 in his 401k, couldn't get a $25,000 loan at his bank, couldn't get 25 grand, and we got him a $750,000 line of credit using 401k financing. So just an idea of how to leverage these kind of assets as collateral to be able to get money. So economic conditions changing a lot, right? A lot of different ways you can still get money if you're acting before things get kind of worse, which we don't know if that's going to happen or not. Try a guarantor, use collateral, use the credit line hybrid using you or a guarantor's good personal credit. Look at the middle of the road funding like peer-to-peer lending with StreetShares that you can get approved with average credit. Look at the other kind of financing like Credibly and some of the other options we talked about where you don't need as good a credit scores like 550, 620. You're able to get Bluevine and Fundbox. And we've talked about some really cool ways and specific online lenders that can help you as well. Credit line hybrid, great way to get money up to 150 grand at 0%. Okay, no, doesn't matter the risk of your industry, doesn't matter if you're a startup. Okay, this program is another program that could work really well for you. And then, of course, if we can help you get financing, let us know. We don't charge you a dime of money to help you get loans and credit lines. You could give us a call or go to creditsuite.com/get funding, and we can talk to you more. And also, don't forget about business credit. You can still get really high limit revolving credit cards using business credit to be able to fund your business as well. If any of that makes sense, you'd like to talk to us more, go to creditsuite.com/consult to schedule time, or go to 877-600-2487. When you get on a call with us, we do a free check to see if you're set up with the reporting agencies now. We do a free fundability assessment to see how fundable your business is, to see the little things that are messed up that will prevent you from getting approved for loans and credit lines. It all happens for free. If you do have an established credit profile, we'll help you get your Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian credit reports for free. And then we'll also do a funding qualification to tell you all the money that you're able to qualify for. Now, it all happens for free. And you can either give us a call at 877-600-2487 to get it, or you can actually schedule time for a consultation at creditsuite.com/consult. If you like this, if this information is valuable, then please do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the love button, share it so other people can see this and the social channels will know it's popular, and follow us on our social channels. We go live on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube Tuesday and Thursday at 1 and 11 o'clock Wednesday, all Eastern time. And then we have daily tips on Twitter, daily tips on Instagram, and a podcast where we have all kinds of cool industry experts in that teach you all kinds of things. Like, for example, we've had people on the recently talk about how to create financial independence, or how to actually buy a business instead of create one, and how to buy businesses with no money down. So if you like those kind of topics, tune into our podcast, the Business Credit Financing Show. You can access all of our previous episodes at creditsuite.com/podcast and do what I do. Listen to podcasts during your day. In the background, you can get a lot of good information on the fly. And I use a lot of podcast services that let me speed it up at 1.5 or 2 times the speed so I can obtain even more information. So a lot of different ways we have to get more information. I'll be back here live Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, where we're going to dive into the funding blueprint to be able to build business credit and get financing for your business. Even when banks say heck no, I'm going to break down fundability for you next Tuesday. I'm going to break down the business credit building process. And I'm even going to try to fit in how you can get all different kinds of financing into that 1 hour session as well. That'll happen on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Periscope next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you have any other questions, reach out to us, 877-600-2487 to get your free business credit and financing consultation. Thanks, everybody. Oh, and the JJ commercial says, when are you going to talk about the partner program again in a live video? I come into contact with a lot of business owners. I will do that. Now, if you want to learn more about our partner program, we just did a webinar on that 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, we just had a webinar on that exact same topic, and we covered that on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can access it at facebook.com/credit suite, youtube.com/credit suite. So that will help you, JJG. That we just covered that about 3 weeks ago. So it's not, I'll look and see, but we're not immediately, I think, going to run back into that to cover that topic again. But you can access that topic in our playback from a few weeks ago. Hopefully that provides value. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Let us know if we can help you get capital for your business.